my whole thing with them is that if it wasn't, my personal opinion, obviously, if it wasn't for Dave Mustaine, that first album from Metallica probably wouldn't be written. The fan base wouldn't have grown as much as it would have. What? You can say whatever you want. Go ahead. By all means.
There's a joke about that. It goes, because Metallica's first album was called Kill 'Em All, and there's a joke on the internet. There's a meme that says, Dave wrote 'em all.
That's exactly the way I feel, though. Yeah. And I never saw that, so I'm unbiased with that meme and everything like that. But, I mean, even after he was kicked out, he's like, don't use any of the music that I wrote. And they still did it. I mean, if you look through the history of both bands, who changed their style of writing and tones and the way they recorded stuff and everything like that? It was Metallica.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that Megadeth didn't have any garbage albums. We all know about what do you like to coin it? Pooper Collider?
Pooper Collider.
Pooper Collider. I'm totally fine with that. It's very commercial based and in the way that it was written.
It's sad because the best song on that album was a cover by Thin Lizzy.
Right.
They did Cold Sweat. That was the best song on that album.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, again, if it wasn't for him, and even having been at rehab, 15 plus times, I think he died once, and having that whole hands injury, coming back and still touring and persevering and playing the way that he plays. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, you're not a real metal guy. You've died once, right? So.
Yeah.
Phil did too. Phil from Pantera did too.
Yeah.
He died for 5 minutes, and they were like, "Welcome back from the dead."
So did Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue.
Yeah,
he died too.
All those heroin guys, man. So don't do heroin, kids.
You got to die and come back to be a real metal god, right? So, what would you guys say is your best metal show you've kind of been to, or maybe a worst if we want to go into that sector?
My worst would probably be Hatebreed, because their songs are all a minute long. So I mean, Jamie Joss is a fantastic frontman, and I appreciate what they do, but for me, just their music is kind of cheesy and boring, and whatever. Like, I don't know, I just can't get into it. But yeah, their songs are a minute long. It's like how could you get into a song if it's a minute long?
Right.
But the best show I've been to is easily, Metallica. I mean, I've been front row for Metallica before, and that was unbelievable. Actually, scratch that. Best show I've ever been to is Rammstein.
You took mine too. That's mine too.
Metallica is definitely number 2, but I've been to so many great shows, but Rammstein was insane. I mean, I went with James and Chrissy. Chrissy was nice enough to invite me, and Melissa too was there, and we had a blast. I mean, there's pyro if you like fire.
You like
crazy,
that's like
crazy stuff everywhere happening.
This is not going to be an easy number 1 for anybody here.
Yeah.
We all like to go to shows with each other.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to choose a different show. And for me personally, there's not one that I think I can identify. I'll spit one out, but I've been to a bunch.
Yeah.
You guys go, and to come back to me at the end, and then I'll name something that you guys haven't mentioned already.
I would say, I don't think I've been to a bad metal show. I've been to a lot of bad rock shows. The worst was Creed. And I'm sorry to say,
what Creed show you at?
Yeah,
as sad as it sounds.
I know. It was back in 2001. I did get drunk and I was underage, and it was awesome. But other than that, I know.
Where was
man,
Super Creed.
I went to a Creed show.
I went to a Creed show. Got drunk. It was so cool. Yeah, but it was bad because
I did pot.
I did the pot.
It was bad, but I was supposed to drive everybody. My friend had to drive. Yeah, it was bad. Anyway,
Creed brings out the worst in
Creed,
people.
I know, man. And it's embarrassing.
Including the band.
People think I'm this big Creed fan. I'm like, no. Listen, the one album was good and that was it. But that was by far.
I've been to a Creed show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. It was actually Creed was as embarrassing as it is. Creed was my first real show.
Yeah.
That was my
Oh, my first real show was Hootie and the Blowfish, but
Oh, dude, that's so much better than Creed.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie and the Blowfish. And then I got into Slayer. But anyway.
Who thought Hootie and the Blowfish would be mentioned on a metal podcast?
I know.
Yeah.
But Creed, the guy showed up. What's his name? Scott Stapp.
Scott Stapp.
Drunk.
That guy's a mess.
Yeah, he's a mess, and he was a mess, and he was supposed to be clean at that point, but he wasn't.
But he's a Christian, so it's okay.
He's a Christian, so it's alright. It's forgiving.
It was bad. But I would say the worst metal act, Kona's going nuts. She's like,
get Creed out of here. I'm talking about Creed.
She wants all this
she hates
conversation.
Creed.
She hates Creed, apparently.
I think the worst metal act I've seen is Butcher Babies.
Oh yeah,
that's awful. They're just a bunch of
Hands
energetic
down.
girls.
And then who was that guy that opened for Ghost that one time?
King Dude.
King Dude.
King Dude.
That was horrendous.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what was bad too for me? Coheed and Cambria.
Oh, I never.
Dude, the front man looks like a Wookiee. He's ridiculous. He got this hair that droops over his face. He looks insane.
So was the performance Chewbacca?
Yeah,
How's that bad?
He just looks it. Well, that's just because their music sucks. If they played good music, then I'd be like, oh, it's cool. It's Chewbacca.
It's Chewbacca. Yeah, it's awesome. I've never really been to bad show period ever really. I mean, we went to that Jane's Addiction one, but the band Jane's Addiction was awesome. It's just the crowd was terrible.
That was done in Asbury Park.
Well, speaking of like the show being good but the crowd being bad, and Asbury Park, James and I went to go see Primus at Stone Pony Summer Stage.
I was there. Yeah.
Weird people.
Oh yeah.
I literally really saw this dude. Someone around us threw up.
Yep.
And it, so everyone made way. There's this huge thing of throw up on the ground. Some cleanup crew tried to broom it up or something, but whatever.
I think they put cones around it or
something.
Outside in the middle of the pit, where the pit would be.
Yeah, ruin this prime
awesome.
real estate of But this one kid, I don't know if he was tripping or what, but he just comes up and he starts wildly dancing straight up on the vomit. Gliding on the vomit. And James and I were just we gotta get out of here. So we paid, later on we went to the back.
We paid more money to sit further back from that whole thing in the bleachers.
But just Primus has some.
I would pay to see that. Oh my
god! It was weird. We were really grossed out.
There was this other Primus concert that Chrissy and I went to at Woodstock.
Yeah, Woodstock,
which was a very intimate setting because it wasn't actually Primus. It was Les Claypool and the Duo de Twang.
Oh.
There was a section in it where the men and the women had to sing their songs alternatively, and Chrissy got identified by Les himself.
I guess I didn't sing.
With another girl, and was told that the girl in the hat and the other girl that was 3 people away weren't singing the song.
What? So I got called out by Les Claypool.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
It's not that cool.
You got identified. by Les Claypool.
That's pretty cool.
At a concert.
Also,
pretty cool.
Also
Who
the
cares?
people at that concert were kind of assholes too. But
that's our
yeah, they weren't that great either. But
Kona's really excited.
Kona's excited about this talk. But yeah, also at that show. And what happens at a few shows back in the day, I had this horrible habit of passing out at shows.
Oh.
Yeah, and it had nothing to do with dehydration or not eating or being drunk or anything like that. But happened at that show.
Chrissy has small ears, so
I have very small ears.
We think that the pressure of the sound and everything.
I think so. We thought, and it turns out that every show that this has happened to, I wasn't wearing any hearing protection. So I also have some weird inner ear issues. I have a little bit of vertigo.
Yeah.
So
I have that too.
Yeah. So I always make it a point to wear hearing protection.
Yeah, invest in some good heroes, man.
Yeah, you really
that's not. I know sometimes I get made fun of, but I don't care.
Should always wear protection.
No, I do it. I used to not do it at concerts. Exactly, I can't hear for anything now. Actually, so now at actual concerts, professional concerts, I wear them. Yeah. When I'm performing on stage, it's harder for me to hear the stuff around me, ironically, because everything is lower than my hearing level. So, still not a good idea, but I just can't hear anything that's going on other than cymbals in my ears. I mean, I can't hear any bass. I can't hear any guitars.
Well, that's also the sound guy's fault, too. A lot of times it doesn't go through the monitors. And
we're not pro enough to afford in-ear monitor systems like these
but still,
bands,
if you play at Dingbats is a place we always play at, sometimes the sound guy is good and sometimes he sucks.
I've seen you where they've been bad.
It's really who you get and if they know what the hell they're doing, because most of the time they don't. You know? So, and we've played at a lot of places like that where the sound guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing and you can't hear yourself.
I find it really depends on your time slot. If you're the 11:30 last slot band, the guy does not give a crap about your band. He wants to go home. So he's just we're good to go here. You ready to go? And it's yes.
One benefit about it being the opening act, the first band up, is you have a longer sound check, which is fantastic for all you people in bands out there. That's one of the perks about being the first band up. Other than that, recommend a 10 o'clock slot all the time.
Yeah. I've done the opening multiple times. I love it. Get there at 4:30. Show starts at 6:30, 7 o'clock. Your sound is set.
Yeah.
You go over as many times as you want. Make as many adjustments as you want and can. And you are good to go for that set later that night. Oh, it's up to me for the worst.
Remember,
there's a handful. There's a handful.
We did see, not like a worst concert experience in general, but I mean, for me, the worst performance I've ever seen in my life was Marilyn Manson. No. Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson was pretty bad.
The worst performance I've ever seen.
And he's really deterring me from seeing Rob Zombie because he's going on tour with Rob Zombie right now.
It's almost
I want no part of it because I don't even want to pay for a crap show from Manson again.
I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan. I like some of his movies, but I think it's like chick metal to me, so I don't know.
You know what? I just like the whole stage theatrics of it. I'm a huge horror movie fan, and so I love the lighting, the pyro, especially if you get to see it outdoors. I think this one's going to be at PNC.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
If he's headlining it and not Manson, I think you're going to get a really good show.
Yeah, I think he's headlining and just Manson's the one that's opening.
And John 5 is just absolutely sick on guitar. Absolutely sick. He's the master of all trades. Chicken picking, she agrees.
Yeah. Kona agrees with that.
Yeah.
We got the chicken picking, you got the regular classic style country licks that he does, the blues licks, the weird, unidentifiable effects that he does through the strings. If you've ever seen some of his tutorial stuff, like he'll like harmonize, he'll pull like a natural harmonic and then hit like up by the tuning pegs, and it creates this like alien type sound effect. It's like just totally killer. It's weird.
Yeah.
But they're a great show.
I like his old band better. I like White Zombie a lot. White Zombie was better in my opinion. And they had that chick bass player. She was badass on bass. She was awesome. Very talented.
She was good.
Yeah, she would like flail her hair around and spin around in a circle and jump around. She was crazy.
I think she had a bass too that looked like a coffin.
Yeah, she did.
It looked like a coffin.
Dude,
it was like really cool.
White Zombie was awesome, man. That's a band I really like.
Yeah, I
back
never
in the
got to
90s.
see them live.
But a good one we saw outdoors. Unfortunately, Melissa and their height didn't help. But a good one we saw at PNC was Nine Inch Nails. That show was awesome.
Oh, I was there with you.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
That show was good.
With Soundgarden, yeah.
But Nine Inch Nails was awesome with all the visual effects he had and everything.
Chris Cornell was... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say it. He was so messed up. Sorry for you kids with the cursing. But he was so messed up on something, and I couldn't understand a word he was saying. And I looked at you, and I was like, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
You know, but other than that, they played a great show. You know, Nine Inch Nails is always a fun time.
Yeah,
you know,
and he had cool visuals. And I think we were more involved with the crazy dancing guy who danced around. I think the entire.
He danced around the entire arena. He came up to us and he was like, "What's up, guys?" He started dancing.
Yeah, and he was doing some crazy moves. It might have been the vomit dancing guy. I don't even know. Might have been the same guy.
The vomit
dancing. This guy was on something because he danced. I watched him, and literally the entire arena. He started from one end and danced to the other end and came back.
That was so cool.
And was dancing, and then with the mullet, he was dancing in mud and stuff. So
yeah, that vomit guy, he was like, "I'm skating." He was
getting some good Michael Jackson moves,
yeah,
sliding
exactly.
Moves, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's okay. I forgive him for that.
Yeah, I was at a Maiden show in the city. I forget who opened for him because I've seen Maiden so many times.
Yeah. One of the best shows ever.
Except for this show where somebody in the top balcony spilled their beer all over the soundboard and the show ended early. Oh yeah, and if you know anything about Maiden, I think back in the 80s in New Jersey, there was a riot and they flipped the fire truck. I didn't know what was going to happen. We were very upset. They did everything in their power to fix the soundboard or bypass it with a backup or whatever the case was, or so they claimed. But they came out and they said, unfortunately, some inexplicable ruined the soundboard, and this is not a drill. This is not a joke. The show has to end. We are sorry that we can't perform anymore. And that was it. The lights turned on and everybody left, and there was no riot. Thank God.
Well, that's good.
Somebody should have kicked the crap out of that guy.
I mean, musically, that was probably performance-wise, that's probably the worst concert I went to. But yeah, that Primus one was not the best.
Well, that was the one too. What Clutch opened up for Primus that time, right?
No, that was a different one.
Oh, it was a different one.
It was the year or two before. I forget who opened. It was this punk guy and some other